Our world is a library of mysteries, some solved, others still waiting to be unraveled. But what if I told you there's a page in the book of Earth's mysteries that's as startling as it is fascinating? Today we're traveling to Brazil, the land of samba, soccer, and believe it or not, one of the most intriguing UFO incidents in history. An event that's been compared to the Roswell incident of 1947. But unlike Roswell, this chapter from the late 1970s has managed to stay relatively obscured from the world's lens. So buckle up as we dive into the depths of Operation Saucer, or as it's popularly known, the Brazilian Roswell. In 1977, in the remote reaches of the Amazon River Delta, something inexplicable began happening in the Brazilian island of Colares. This tranquil and somewhat isolated place, known for its simple fishing villages and sprawling, lush rainforests, became the epicenter of a series of strange sightings that left its inhabitants frightened and astounded. These events have come to be referred to as the Brazilian Roswell, one uncanny echo of the famed incident that occurred in the New Mexico desert 3 decades prior. The sightings were anything but ordinary. The residents started observing bizarre, glowing objects hovering in the sky. These phenomena were not the occasional fleeting glimpses we often associate with UFO sightings. No, these were recurring, often nightly occurrences that lasted for several months. The objects, described by eyewitnesses as saucers or luminous spheres, displayed unconventional movement patterns and would hover over the area, emitting intense beams of light. Local doctors were overwhelmed with patients complaining of mysterious ailments after these encounters. The local government, unable to provide an explanation or assistance, called in the Brazilian Air Force for help. This marked the beginning of an unprecedented military investigation codenamed Operation Saucer. Operation Saucer, under the command of Captain Urange Hollander, carried out extensive research on the sightings. The team comprised of about 24 soldiers who set up a base on Colares Island, aiming to document this unexplainable phenomenon scientifically. They reportedly managed to capture hundreds of photographs and over 16 hours of film footage showing the strange objects. Interviews were conducted with many locals, documenting their experiences and encounters in meticulous detail. The operation, however, was shrouded in an air of mystery and secrecy. While the investigation was taking place, news about these events was not permitted to leak to the outside world. It was a clandestine endeavor that remained largely unacknowledged until years later. The lengths to which the Brazilian military went to study these phenomena begs the question: what exactly was happening on the island of Colares in 1977? And, perhaps more intriguingly, what did the military discover during Operation Saucer? The lights and strange craft witnessed during this time weren't simply spectacles that the villagers could admire from a safe distance. No, these sightings were interactive, sometimes distressingly so. Residents reported experiencing both physical and psychological effects following encounters with the strange, unexplained phenomena, adding another layer to this. The villagers described the lights as intensely bright, usually taking on an array of vibrant colors. These were no mere flashes in the night sky, but rather intricate, luminous shapes performing elaborate maneuvers that defied conventional understanding of physics. Their movement seemed deliberate, as if controlled by some unknown intelligence. The effects they had on the local population were equally peculiar. Numerous individuals reported being targeted by beams of light emitted from these craft, resulting in a variety of symptoms. Some experienced intense heat and were left with first-degree burns on their skin. Others described a sensation akin to being pricked by hundreds of needles. Paralysis, weakness, and fatigue were also commonly reported following these encounters, leaving the victims drained of energy and in a state of deep confusion. One of the most chilling aspects of these encounters was that many victims also reported significant hair loss in the areas where the beams had hit them, a condition known as alopecia. Furthermore, puncture marks or small wounds were often found on the bodies of these individuals, leading to speculation about possible extractions of blood or biological material. What makes these accounts all the more troubling is that they were not isolated incidents, but rather widespread phenomena affecting a large portion of the local population. Indeed, over the course of just a few months, the local health post registered more than 400 cases of individuals suffering from these peculiar symptoms. The consistency of these reports, combined with the physical evidence, defied any straightforward, conventional explanation. deepening the intrigue and mystery surrounding the Brazilian Roswell. But like a sudden blackout in a vibrant city, Operation Saucer came to an abrupt end. It was December of 1977, and despite the operation having just scratched the surface of understanding the phenomena, the Brazilian military abruptly concluded it. This decision came as a surprise considering the increasing momentum of the investigations. The sightings showed no signs of diminishing. The populace was still gripped by fear, and the question of what these lights were remained unanswered. The hasty closure sparked a series of speculations. Some suggested that the military had made contact or had come to some agreement with the beings behind the lights. Others conjectured that they might have found something profoundly unsettling, something that either scared them into silence or was so significant that it had to be kept under wraps. Conspiracy theorists leaped at the decision. They suspected that the US government, given their vested interest in UFO phenomena, as demonstrated by initiatives like Project Blue Book, might have exerted pressure on Brazil to end the operation and keep the findings confidential. They point to potential cover-ups and suppression of information in the interest of national security. After all, what if these entities represented an unknown and potentially superior technology? But amidst all this speculation, the military kept tight-lipped and all files related to Operation Saucer were classified. The lead investigator, Captain Hollander, was reassigned, and any discussion about the operation was discouraged. It was as if a veil of silence had descended over the whole affair, making it one of the most captivating yet least understood UFO encounters in history. Years later, in 1997, Brazil did release some files pertaining to Operation Saucer, but the information contained within was frustratingly sparse. It seemed that the real heart of the matter, the true answers to what transpired during those strange months in 1977, were either lost, still hidden, or perhaps out of this world. Now, as is often the case when governments appear to hide information, a whole wave of conspiracy theories and unanswered questions surfaced. Who were the true puppeteers of these dazzling lights? Were they just an unexplained natural phenomenon, or did they indeed have otherworldly origins? Did the Brazilian military really make contact with these entities? The answers remain as elusive as the lights themselves, but let's dive deeper into these mysteries. Some of the more common theories suggest an extraterrestrial presence, with believers pointing to the sophisticated maneuvers of the lights and the bizarre symptoms exhibited by those who came into contact with them. These symptoms, including puncture marks and anemia, seem to defy logical explanation, leading some to posit that these were results of alien encounters. In the heart of the conspiracy theory jungle, some suggest that Operation Saucer was a smokescreen for a more secret, more in-depth investigation, one that yielded evidence of alien existence and contact. The abrupt end of the operation is often seen as a sign that the military had found something too potent, too shocking to reveal to the public. Yet others contend that the lights were perhaps secret technological experiments, possibly even orchestrated by the United States or another foreign power. The area around Colares is remote and sparsely populated, making it an ideal location for such clandestine tests. But of course, these are all theories, stories spun in the void of official silence. Despite numerous requests and appeals over the years, the Brazilian government has kept a tight lid on the Operation Saucer files. Captain Hollander, the lead investigator, gave an interview in 1997, claiming he had indeed witnessed the extraterrestrial entities during the operation. However, his mysterious death just a year later has only added fuel to the conspiracy theories and speculation. Thus, the Brazilian Roswell remains shrouded in mystery, a tantalizing question mark in the annals of UFO encounters. The island of Colares, once an obscure fishing community, is now etched in UFO lore as a hotspot of unexplained aerial phenomena and an enduring symbol of the quest for the truth about extraterrestrial life. Now, despite the swirling clouds of mystery and speculation, the Brazilian Roswell incident has left a significant footprint on the sands of time. This extraordinary event isn't just another tale of fleeting lights in the night sky. It has created a lasting legacy and has had a profound influence on the ufology and our perception of the unknown. Firstly, let's consider the sheer intensity and duration of the sightings. Over several months, countless people reported interactions with these inexplicable lights. This wasn't just a solitary UFO sighting, but rather a sustained, intensive phenomenon that affected an entire community. It's fair to say that such a level of activity is unprecedented in the annals of reported extraterrestrial encounters. Additionally, the involvement of the Brazilian military, one of the most powerful in South America, gives an extra layer of credibility to the events. Unlike many other UFO incidents, this one was officially investigated, lending an undeniable gravitas to the sightings. The military's serious approach, complete with a specially dedicated operation and its sudden termination, has intrigued ufologists and investigators ever since. The legacy of the Brazilian Roswell also extends to the cultural impact it has had. The story has been the subject of numerous documentaries, books, and articles. The town of Colares has become a mecca for UFO enthusiasts, with many making pilgrimages to this remote corner of Brazil to experience the location of these mystifying events firsthand. Finally, the Brazilian Roswell has made an indelible impact on the discourse about life beyond Earth. The fact that these sightings were accompanied by physical symptoms in those who witnessed them forces us to confront the idea that if there is other life in the universe, it could interact with us in ways we may not fully understand or anticipate. The incident fuels the ongoing debate and speculation about what lies beyond the boundaries of our planet. Ultimately, the legacy of the Brazilian Roswell is a reminder of our enduring fascination with the unknown, the mysteries of the universe, and our relentless pursuit of answers, no matter how elusive they may be. Extraterrestrials, beings from beyond our world, have often dominated our imagination and storytelling. But what if some of these stories are more than just tales? What if governments around the world had opportunities to capture these mysterious visitors? Let's delve into some historical events where perhaps governments might have had the chance to capture aliens. Let's hop across the pond to late December 1980 in Suffolk, England, Rendlesham Forest to be exact, a place that would soon earn the nickname Britain's Roswell. Why, you ask? Well, grab your flashlight and follow me into the heart of this captivating mystery. It all began a few days after Christmas at RAF Woodbridge, a US Air Force base. Security personnel, including the now famous John Burroughs and Jim Penniston, reported mysterious lights descending into the forest. Thinking it might be a downed aircraft, a team was sent to investigate, but what they discovered wasn't a crashed plane. It was something far stranger. As the servicemen ventured deeper into the woods, they described seeing a triangular craft resting on 3 legs. Penniston even claimed to have touched the object, describing it as warm, with strange symbols not unlike the hieroglyphs in the Roswell debris. The craft then ascended, leaving behind 3 indentations in the ground and increased radioactivity, which later investigations confirmed. But the story doesn't end there. 2 nights later, the lights returned. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt decided to investigate personally. Accompanied by a team, Holt ventured into the forest with a Geiger counter and a voice recorder. The recordings, which were later released to the public, capture Holt and his team's genuine bewilderment as they experienced a series of bizarre phenomena: pulsing lights, laser-like beams shooting down from the sky, and a mysterious red object. The aftermath was a swirl of confusion. Initially, the US and British military brushed the incidents off. However, in 1983, a memorandum from Holt detailing the events became public, causing a media sensation. Theories began pouring in. Was it an extraterrestrial visitation? A secret satellite? A classified aircraft test? Over the years, the British Ministry of Defence remained tight-lipped, stating that the event posed no threat to national security and therefore didn't warrant an investigation. However, for those involved and many who've delved into the depths of this mystery, Rendlesham remains an encounter that challenges our understanding of the unknown. The end of the 1980s was a time of many significant world events. While the Berlin Wall was falling and the internet was in its infancy, the skies over Belgium were hosting an event that still puzzles many to this day. Enter the Belgian UFO Wave, a series of alleged extraterrestrial sightings that took the country, and soon the world, by storm. From November 1989 to April 1990, thousands of Belgians reported seeing large, silent, low-flying triangular formations of lights in the sky. These weren't just the tales of a few scattered individuals. There were collective sightings reported by entire groups of people. And even police officers corroborated many of these claims. The report shared a striking similarity. Most witnesses described the objects as huge flying platforms, often triangular in shape with bright lights at each corner. On the night of March 30th, 1990, things escalated. The Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets after ground-based radar locked onto an unknown target. The target played a game of aerial cat and mouse with the jets, demonstrating remarkable maneuverability and speed. Pilots reported that the UFOs would react to their attempts at intercept, accelerating and changing altitude far beyond the capabilities of 20th-century earthly aircraft. Several radar lock-ons were achieved by the jets, and at one point, the UFOs dropped from an altitude of 10,000 feet to 500 feet in mere seconds, a move that would have been fatal to any human pilot due to the G-force. This baffling and dangerous maneuverability, combined with the sheer number of sightings, made it hard to dismiss the events as mere hallucinations or hoaxes. Adding gravitas to the sightings, General Wilfried de Brouwer, the deputy chief of the Belgian Air Staff, held a press conference where he confirmed the military's inability to identify the nature, origin, or intentions of the high-speed objects. He showed radar tape footage and explained the military's involvement in the sightings, giving an official weight to the phenomenon. However, as with all things UFO, skeptics have their counter-arguments. Some suggest that the sightings could be attributed to a combination of mass hysteria, misidentifications of stars and planets, or even secret military aircraft tests. The Belgian wave has been compared to other historical UFO flaps, where a kernel of genuine mystery gets amplified by media hype and public anxiety. Still, what makes the Belgian UFO wave stand out is the sheer number of witnesses, the corroboration by police and military personnel, and the undeniable radar evidence. More than 3 decades later, the events remain one of the most well-documented and yet inexplicable UFO episodes in history. Whatever was in the skies over Belgium in that fateful winter, it left behind a legacy of awe, wonder, and enduring mystery. The year 1997 was poised to be significant for its technological advancements and the evolution of the internet. However, on the evening of March 13th, in the skies above Phoenix, Arizona, and neighboring cities, an event occurred that would make its mark on UFO history. The Phoenix Lights phenomenon is considered one of the most widely witnessed and documented UFO sightings in the modern era, and like all great mysteries, it's shrouded in debate, intrigue, and wonder. As the sun set on that March evening, reports began trickling in from across the state of Arizona. Initially, it started with accounts of a massive V-shaped object, several football fields in length, moving silently across the sky. Eyewitnesses, which numbered in the thousands, included pilots, police officers, and even the Arizona governor, Fife Symington. The descriptions were eerily consistent, a series of lights, often 5 to 7, in a distinct triangular formation, floating effortlessly and silently overhead. Hours later, a second event occurred. A series of stationary lights hovered over the Phoenix area. These orb-like illuminations remained in place, forming a slight arc, and then one by one, they blinked out, leaving puzzled and awestruck observers on the ground. This event was captured on video by multiple civilians and made its way onto local and national news, catapulting the Phoenix Lights into the spotlight. But what were they? An extraterrestrial visitation, top-secret military aircraft, an elaborate hoax? The official explanation from the military, revealed days after the event, was that the lights were flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft during a nighttime exercise at the Barry Goldwater Range. However, this explanation didn't sit well with many, including some experts who insisted that the lights seen over Phoenix didn't behave like conventional flares. Governor Symington, who initially made light of the situation by bringing an aide dressed as an alien to a press conference, later admitted that he'd witnessed the event himself and believed it to be of extraterrestrial origin. The event stirred intense debate and led to a myriad of theories. Skeptics pointed to military exercises, atmospheric conditions, or even mass delusion as potential explanations. Proponents of the extraterrestrial theory argued that the vast size of the craft, its silence, and its seemingly anti-gravity movement were far beyond any known human-made aircraft's capabilities. Airports are bustling hubs of activity, filled with thousands of people, grounded by schedules, rules, and predictable trajectories. Yet on November 7, 2006, the usual humdrum of flights and routine announcements at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport was disrupted by something quite extraordinary, something quite unearthly. As the day progressed, workers at one of the world's busiest airports noticed a peculiar dark grey metallic object hovering silently above Gate C-17. This unidentified flying object was neither broadcasting a transponder signal nor communicating with the air traffic controllers, not the typical behavior of an aircraft, especially in a strictly controlled airspace like that of O'Hare. According to multiple witnesses, which included seasoned pilots, mechanics, and airport personnel, this mysterious oval-shaped craft hovered for several minutes. Its presence was undeniable, stationary, deliberate, and apparently undisturbed by the winds or the roar of jet engines beneath. Even more intriguing was its sudden departure. Witnesses described the UFO shooting upwards at an incredible speed, piercing the thick cloud cover and leaving behind an almost perfect circular hole in its wake. This hole reportedly lingered for several minutes before clouds closed the gap, as if the sky itself was trying to mend a breach in its fabric. Now, when an event like this occurs at one of the world's major transport hubs, it's hard to keep it under wraps. Word quickly spread, and soon the sighting became national and international news. However, the official response from the Federal Aviation Administration was less than satisfactory for those seeking answers. They initially dismissed the event, attributing the sighting to a weather phenomenon, and stated that they weren't going to investigate. But the pressure from major news outlets, including the Chicago Tribune, eventually forced a more formal statement, albeit one that continued to emphasize a weather-related explanation. But the employees who witnessed the event weren't buying the weather explanation. They knew what they saw, and many were frustrated by what they felt was a dismissive approach by the authorities. Some witnesses even faced ridicule, with a few opting for anonymity, fearing professional repercussions. The 2006 O'Hare UFO sighting is significant not just because of where it took place, but also because of the sheer number of witnesses, many of whom were aviation professionals. When airport security was at an all-time high, an unidentified craft hovering above an airport terminal was unsettling, to say the least. As with many UFO events, skeptics and believers have waged battles over the validity and nature of the O'Hare sighting. But regardless of where one stands on the matter, the incident serves as a stark reminder. Sometimes the skies above us hold mysteries that challenge our understanding of the world and force us to consider possibilities beyond our everyday experiences. And as always, I hope you enjoyed our video today. Thanks for watching.